In my 12 years as an artist and 6 years of teaching beginner artists, I found that putting love at the center of your art practice is one of the most effective ways to draw more. So here are 5 tricks to help us draw more through finding more enjoyment in the practice. The first trick is to stop trying so hard to improve your art. Now, this might sound counterintuitive. You might have clicked on this video in hopes of increasing the amount of drawing that you do so you improve faster. But one of the problems with the improvement mindset is that you're going to start trying to force growth that is unnatural. And the more you try to force your creative side to grow, the more you try to force your intuition to grow, the less you'll actually enjoy the practice, and the less curious you will be, the less you'll find flow in the practice, the less you will enjoy the practice overall. So then you end up drawing less and less over time. What I found in a lot of beginner artists is that they keep trying to force themselves to improve because they've heard from teachers that they need to just improve faster, that they need to learn their fundamentals, get addicted to drawing so that they'll make all this massive improvement and then they can finally become the artist that they want to become. And to me, this is an absolute lie. The key to enjoying the practice is letting go of some of the necessity to improve. Now, wanting to improve is completely natural. Wanting to do drawing exercises, completely natural. I have my 54 free drawing exercises that are linked below because I know that it is enjoyable to improve. It feels good to grow. But if that comes from a place of forcing it, if that comes from a place of trying to prove your self-worth in the practice, then the art practice doesn't become sustainable. Ultimately, what we want is to put love at the center of the art practice and let improvement happen naturally. How you grow as an artist is going to be unique to you. So trying to force it just isn't a good idea. Even if a teacher has like this amazing model of like, oh, this is a great way to improve your practice, this is a great way to learn forms. That doesn't mean that you need to go down that path in the exact same way that teacher does it. What you want to do is to lean into your natural curiosity. If you are someone who has all my drawing exercises, if you have my absolutely everything bundle, the most important thing that I want you to pay attention to is what actually pulls you towards an exercise and what makes you not want to do something. Do not force yourself to do exercises that you don't enjoy, especially if you're trying to increase the amount of drawing that you are doing. Just take a moment right now and think about all the activities that you used to do in the past where you weren't actually trying to spend a ton of time, but you just spent tons of time naturally. How many of those activities were focused around forcing yourself to do more of it versus just doing it naturally, being curious about something and exploring it? Almost every video game I've ever played where I did it from enjoyment, every friend I've hung out with where I did it out of enjoyment, all of those activities, I was way more focused on just having fun. There was an aspect of improvement, but it wasn't at the center. It's very important to remember that you are complete as you are. You do not need to prove your worth by becoming a better artist. So you can just enjoy the practice from the beginning. And that is true even if you're a beginner artist. Even if your art is ugly, like by your definition ugly, it's still worthy. You can enjoy the practice from the beginning. You do not need to become a good artist to enjoy it. There is no place you'll get to where your self-worth will be fixed by becoming a great artist. You won't force yourself to be good and then suddenly you'll feel better about the practice. If you do not find ways to enjoy the practice today, it is not likely that just getting better will fix it. Usually artists find ways to enjoy the practice and heal their perception around their art practice and then feel more complete in it. It's not just about improving technically. So let's put the improvement mindset aside and just try to enjoy the practice more. Tap into the love, because that is ultimately the most important thing. Your creative side, your intuition does not like being forced into improvement. So treat it with care. Treat your creativity as a friend, because that is one of the best ways to have a healthy art practice. If you are someone who wants sustainable practice, if you are someone who wants to get back in touch with the playfulness that you had as a child or when you were younger and you approached drawing from a fun place, then start treating your creativity as a friend. Do not force it to do anything that it doesn't want to do, and just pay attention to what it actually wants. Next time you sit down to draw, ask your creative side, what do you want to do today? You're in control. I'm going to give you all the room for the next 20 minutes or so. This sketchbook page is for you, whatever you want to do, and I will do my best not to judge you because I'm going to be a good friend. That is how you should approach it, or at least that's how I think you should approach it, because that is way healthier, makes it way easier. I've been using this hack a lot where I ask my creativity and treat my creativity like a friend, because I tend to treat my friends better than I treat myself. So this idea of my artistic side is a friend of mine, I'm going to treat it with that respect, makes it easier to put aside the necessity to improve, because I don't treat my friends that way. I don't treat my friends as if they need to change themselves and grow for them to be worthy of my love. I love them from the beginning. Obviously, it's nice to see them improve, right? Same thing with your art practice. It's nice to improve, but it's not the priority. The priority is enjoying the practice and falling in love with it. So remember that. You are complete. Treat your art practice like a friend and just enjoy the practice. Stop trying to put improvement first. There's something better than improvement. It's not the top of the mountain. Enjoying the practice is at the top of the mountain. So that is trick number 1. Trick number 2 is to increase the amount of boredom in your life. This is something that I've been actively working on the past couple of weeks, where I'm leaving more silence and breathing room in my schedule. So boredom doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually bored, but what I mean by boredom is that you're not getting a bunch of cheap dopamine from just consuming a bunch of content, consuming a bunch of shorts. Stay off the shorts platforms. Remove Instagram off your phone, remove TikTok off your phone, and just leave breathing room in your schedule. Instead of trying to pack it full of things to do, like instead of trying to draw every hour of the day, what I recommend you do is just leave space in your schedule where you're not trying to do anything. You're just not consuming anything. You're not necessarily reading. Maybe you just go out for walks. I feel like walks is one of the best ways to do this. If you're trying to increase the amount of stillness in your life, the breathing room in your life, walks are great for this, especially in silence. For some people, they need music, but I do think that walking in silence can be tremendously healing. And what you'll find is that you will get in touch with the muse. You'll get in touch with your creative side because they tend to whisper. Your creativity tends to be whispering at all times, and it's very difficult to hear it if you're not attuned to it. There's almost like you have to train your listening skills to your creativity. And the more you consume stuff from the externally, the more you are flooding yourself with dopamine, the harder it becomes to hear that voice. So increasing the amount of boredom and breathing room naturally makes you more creative. Now, I know that this doesn't work for everyone, but I found that if in a month I consume way less content, if I'm not on my phone as much, if I'm going for walks and reading more and doing difficult tasks where I'm not just like getting this cheap dopamine, the more creative I am. I have way more ideas in my sketchbooks. Ideas just flow out of me the more I sit in silence and actually enjoy the practice from a place of peacefulness, from stillness, instead of like trying to rush everywhere. One lie that I think that a lot of us fall into is that we need to hurry up, that we need to rush somewhere. And I think that increasing the amount of stillness and boredom in your life can remind you that you can just enjoy the present moment, let go of the future, right? Let go of this need to schedule everything out. Let go of this idea that I need to become an amazing artist in the next 6 months. Like, let go of all of that. All of that is pointless. It's not going to get you to where you think you want to go. Trust me, it's not going to make you happier. It's not going to do, like, forcing yourself to rush that fast is not helpful. Now, if you need to do this as a career, sure, but most of you are hobbyists. You do this from a place of love. You love the art practice, and it's easier to remember that. It's way easier to remember that if you have room in your schedule to just breathe. And for some of you, this might mean commuting without listening to anything. This is something that I've been adopting lately, where when I'm driving anywhere, where I'm commuting somewhere, I'm just sitting in silence. I'm not listening to music. I'm not listening to podcasts, because I'm trying to make sure that my brain just has room to digest, leave room to become attuned to the creativity. Let it just marinate in the background on its own in silence. It's very effective. This helps me draw way, way more. I crave drawing so much more when my schedule has a lot of stillness in it. So try this out. Give it at least a month. At least a month. I would actually recommend doing this for 6 months, because that's really when that the momentum develops over that time. I know that can be really difficult. I know the phone is so addictive. I know these apps are addictive. Trust me, I struggle with it. The reason why this is number 2 because I struggle with this one. And I've been working on it. I'm trying to get better at it. So join me in this struggle. Join me in this challenge of just increasing the amount of stillness. And one thing that I've found is that actually going out and working with friends can be very helpful with this. Because if I have other people in the room with me, I'm way less likely to be on my phone. If I'm at a cafe with a bunch of friends who are also working on their stuff, then there's almost like this joint accountability of like everyone's staying off their phones, everyone's actually trying to work on their stuff, and that is almost like a forced stillness, almost like forced boredom, but that will only work if you have friends who then don't yap too much, right? So you might have to schedule sessions here. You might have to be like, okay, we're all gonna work for 90 minutes and then have a 20-minute yap session, right? So you gotta be deliberate here. It's not like something that's just an easy hack that works all the time. But I have friends who I co-work with and it works great because we're all focused for certain periods of time and then we have our little yap sessions and going back and forth helps me stay off my phone, helps me not consume anything because I don't bring my headphones. I don't bring anything that'll distract me. There should be a sketchbook on the table and I'm just sitting there. And if no ideas come, I'll just sit there in boredom. I'll just sit there in stillness, sit with it, maybe journal. Journaling is great. If you are trying to increase the amount of drawing that you do way more journaling. Just 10x the amount of journaling you do because that also helps a ton. Just don't do it from a place of forcing it, but like leave that as an option. You don't have to draw every day, but if you do a little bit of journaling or drawing every day, that helps a ton. So these are a couple of things that I'm doing right now. Increase the amount of boredom in your life because that will help you draw more. Trick number 3 is to write out your expectations and rewire them. There is a reason why this is the first exercise in my inner artist course, and that is because I think one of the biggest issues that we run into as artists and also as human beings is that we develop these unhealthy expectations of what we should get out of the practice, what it means to be a good artist, what it looks like, how fast you should improve. We have all these expectations that will just develop over time naturally, especially if you consume a lot of YouTube videos. These expectations will grow and sometimes they will go unexamined, right? We won't look at them, we won't actually write them out, and then we'll just be enslaved to them, right? We will be living under these expectations, feel bad about them, feel bad about all these things that we believe, but never actually looking at them. So what we want to do is to take a piece of paper or your journal and just write out what do you expect from yourself? What does it mean to be a good artist? Why are you a bad artist? Like if you feel bad about your practice, why is that? What are the expectations that you're falling short of? And then look at those expectations and be very critical of the expectations. Would you put those expectations on someone you loved? This is one of the key ways I get around a lot of my expectations because I have very different expectations for myself than I do for other people. Like I'm way more forgiving of all my friends, all my loved ones, all my students than I am of myself. So I need to rewire some of those expectations and be like, okay, I expect myself to improve really rapidly over a 6-month period. But guess what? If one of my students didn't rapidly improve over 6 months, but they were drawing a lot, would I judge them for that? No. My only question would be, did you enjoy it? Because that's really the only thing that matters. Like, I don't care if you improved in 6 months. It doesn't matter to me. All I care is that you enjoy the practice. So maybe I should hold that same expectation for myself. Maybe I should stop judging myself so harshly because it's not helpful. It's not helpful to have all of these expectations. And what you might want to do is that next time you sit down to draw, have a piece of paper beside you or your journal beside you and write out all the voices that pop up into your head, all the different things that you're telling yourself, all the critical voices. Write them down. Do not examine them yet while you're drawing. Just keep drawing, write them down, keep drawing. And then later on, ask yourself, where are these voices coming from? What expectations are at the core of this voice? This critical voice is saying these certain things. It's saying, oh, why aren't you better at drawing faces? Where is that coming from? It comes from an expectation that you should be good at drawing faces already, but have you practiced them enough? Do you actually enjoy drawing faces? Why do you want to draw faces if you don't actually enjoy it? These are all questions that you need to start asking yourself so that you can rewire some of these expectations. Now, this isn't something that will happen rapidly. This is something that you're gonna have to sit with, especially if you've never done this before. But as you do it more often, as you grapple with your expectations, it will be easier to see how you can treat yourself better. And the better you get at treating yourself, the more kindness you bring into your art practice, the less judgment you have in your art practice, the more you will draw naturally because you'll enjoy it so much more. It's so much more enjoyable to sit down and draw and just have fun and have none of those negative voices. Now, some of those voices might speak up once in a while. They might like pop up a little bit, but the more you've trained to rewire expectations, the easier it will be to notice them, be like, hey, I hear you. I hear that you feel that way. I hear that you feel a little bit insecure about our faces. Our portraits aren't the best right now. I hear you, and maybe we'll practice a little bit later, but not right now. You sit in the back seat, you take a nap. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm going to put Joy here, right? Joy is in shotgun right now, and we're driving, all right? We're handling this. He's got the GPS. I'm driving. I'm focused on making sure that I sit down to draw every day. He's making sure we get to the right places, right? Curiosity and joy are in the front, right? Expectations, judgment can be in the back. I'm not expecting you to just like remove it completely, the idea that you'll never feel judgmental of your work and the idea that the inner critic will go away completely is unrealistic, but it should not be in the driver's seat. We do not want to get to a place where we have a judgmental voice pop into our head while we're drawing, and then suddenly we rush to YouTube to find a tutorial to try to relieve us of that uncomfortable feeling. That's not the goal. The goal is to be able to see that voice and have room for it, but not let it guide us. It's not the thing that's driving the car. It's not in the front seat. It is in the back seat. We can hear it, but we're going to ignore it most of the time. We're going to let it exist. We're not forcing it out, but ultimately, our art practice is driven by joy and curiosity, and that becomes easier to do the more you grapple with your expectations. If you are someone who is a perfectionist, then I understand that this is very difficult. I struggle with perfectionism my entire life. My entire 20s were just defined by perfectionism. I had such a hard time finishing things and actually doing things and actually putting stuff out because I just wasn't able to overcome my expectations. So if you are a perfectionist, I highly recommend this exercise. Check it out in the Inner Artist course if you want me to help you along with this, but you can also do this on your own. Trick number 4 is what I like to call a beautiful pause. And a beautiful pause is when you take moments in your practice or throughout your day to just savor the moment. You don't have to enjoy the entire practice, right? Like if you are in a place where drawing feels painful, if you are in a place where drawing is just very challenging, instead of trying to enjoy the entire practice, let's every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, just try to feel the joy of life in a small moment, just in a small pause. We're just going to make small accents of joy throughout the practice so that we can get in the habit of enjoying life a little bit more. Now, I want you to do this also outside of the art practice. If you are someone who's struggling, if you are someone who struggles to really enjoy your life, do this throughout the day. Every day when you have your coffee or something, just take 30 seconds, 20 seconds, even 15 seconds is enough to just breathe in. Let's do it right now. Let's just take a breath in and just try to enjoy it. Try to just savor the beauty of it, right? A piece of paper and the feeling of a pen going across the paper or a pencil going across paper, that is enough to savor. You can savor, you can truly feel it in your bones if you allow it. Really pay attention to just the texture of it, the sound, the feeling. What does your hand feel like, the grip? Like, pay attention for like 15 seconds and try to savor it as much as possible. Just really sink into it. And the joy that can come out of such a small experience is insane. It's crazy to me. Like every time I do it, it blows my mind. The reason why I like drawing with pens on paper, and specifically when I do my like finished pieces, I work with a specific pen on watercolor paper, is so I can feel the texture and I can just make sure that my mind is focused on the texture, and then I will just sink into the drawing. I will become one with the drawing. And you could do this at any moment. This is available at any moment, regardless of what's happening. And I know that can be hard to do all the time. So let's just do it once in a while. Every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes, whatever works for you. Take a beautiful pause and really enjoy the moment. And then you can go back to being stressed about it. I know trying to change your art practice overnight is very difficult, but we can do this with small accents throughout the practice, throughout your day. Next time you're out for a walk and you find yourself being a little bit stressed, just take a moment, take a deep breath in, and then just try to absorb the beauty, let your creative side to just absorb it all. And then you can go back to your regular life after. These small accents have helped me a lot. I know I'm someone who struggles with this quite a bit. I tend to overthink. I tend to be very critical of myself. But if I accent the day with those beautiful pauses, it does make things a lot better. And it's something that takes very little effort and it's a very small amount of time, so it's easy to implement. So try that out. Let me know how that works for you, because this is something that I've been trying to explore a little bit more, and I want to hear how my students handle this and like who can actually make use of this. And if you have counter arguments for this, feel free to point those out in the comments as well. But just try to do them here and there. You don't have to do them all the time, but they're very effective when you do. If you've been enjoying this video so far, check out the Absolutely Everything bundle that's linked below. I have a Joy of Drawing section where I go over more of these types of strategies, because I fundamentally believe that the joy of drawing should be at the core of the practice. It makes everything easier. So I included that as a free bonus in a lot of different bundles, in the Figure Drawing bundle, in the Beginners Toolkit, in the Inner Artist course. In a lot of these courses, you'll find the Joy of Drawing section towards the top, and it's because I fundamentally believe that joy should be at the center. I know that's not easy to do, but if you want more of this type of stuff, check the Absolutely Everything bundle that's linked below, and just let's enjoy our drawing practice a little bit more. Trick number 5 is what I like to call the underdog story. We love a good underdog story. How many movies have you watched where the main character is the underdog? It's the one that gets bullied a lot. It's the one that doesn't really have any powers, doesn't have anything going for him. And then, over time, proves themselves, proves their worth, and then, wow, they're amazing at the end. They save the world or whatever. Like that story is so common, and it's such an archetypal story because it feels good. It feels good. Just watch that. Treat yourself like the underdog for a moment. If you are a beginner artist, if you're someone who's starting on the practice, if you're someone who's just struggled your entire life, take a moment, just imagine that you are the underdog of this movie. You're the underdog. And what we want from you is not for you to improve fast. That's not the goal. We just want you to improve at some point in the future. It can be 20, 30 years from now. The longer it takes, actually, the better of a story it is. Someone who is drawing in their 30s, for example, you're a beginner artist in your 30s, and you work hard at it for 30 years, and then in your 60s, you finally create a masterpiece. You finally create something that's beautiful. That's a way better story than it taking 1 year of intense effort to get good. That's not as fun of a story. It's a way cooler story if it takes you 30 years. So treat yourself with that kindness. For a moment, just be like, okay, you know what? I'm a beginner artist right now. That's fine. I'm going to be bad because the worse I am right now, the cooler the story will be. So I'm just going to allow myself to be bad. Give yourself permission to just make ugly drawings for the rest of this day, for the rest of this year, for as long as you want, because ultimately it is an underdog story. Right? It's just, I'll let improvement happen in the future. And this is especially useful for anyone who's particularly ambitious. Like if you are one of these artists who really wants to get good, this could be very helpful for that. I found that be helpful for me because I used to have all these ambitions around my art practice. And the more I put it off into the future, the easier it is for me to actually enjoy the practice and not focus so much on that. Because ultimately that doesn't matter. You're not going to get a bunch of Instagram likes and feel better about your life. That's not how that works. So the more we can just lean into being a beginner, the more we can lean into being the underdog, the more we can enjoy the practice. Now, if you are someone who's at a slightly older age, this might not work the same way for you. But what I would say is that it's an even better story if someone just loves their practice. It's so much nicer to just watch someone enjoy what they do. Someone stressing over their drawings and feeling bad about it is not very fun to watch. It's so much more enjoyable to just watch someone truly love something regardless of how good they are at it. And you know this, if you met people out in the world where they are in love with what they do. They feel so much passion for what they do. It could be video games, it could be anything. You can find someone who's passionate about going for walks. And I've met people like that. And when they start talking about it, you're like, you know what? I'm on your side. I'm cheering for you because you're so passionate for it. I take that approach and just use it for yourself. You can be a beginner artist, love your practice, and get tremendous amounts of joy out of the practice without getting better, without improving. So just treat yourself like an underdog. This is the type of framework that works well for me. Play around, figure out what works well for you. This is very important here, is that not all of these things are going to work for you. Every journey is unique. Every creative journey is unique. That's why some of these things are difficult, right? The reason why the Joy of Drawing has so many different videos is because I know that everyone has a very unique mind, a very unique approach to life, and you need to figure out what strategy works for you. These are just 5 tricks. There's infinite amounts of ways of approaching art. These are things that work well for me. These are things that work well for some of my students. But you need to figure out what works for you. If thinking of yourself as a beginner for the rest of your life means that you just stop drawing altogether, then maybe that isn't the approach for you. Or maybe if giving up on improving means that you need to sit down and journal out about what you care about, and maybe you need to sit and ask yourself, why do I want to draw? And you need to question that a little bit longer. That might be something that you have to do, and you have to figure that out on your own. That's part of the beauty of being an artist, is that it's so personal. It's actually one of the benefits of being an artist, is that it's so unique to you, but one of the challenges is that no one else can tell you exactly what to do. No teacher can tell you exactly what to do. No matter how good a teacher is, no matter how much they refine their lessons, it's still going to be personal. It's still going to be up to you to choose to do the exercise. It's going to be up to you to choose how to approach each exercise, how much to spend on each exercise, how to actually enjoy the practice. All of that is up to you. So take responsibility for it. Let yourself play, bring playfulness into it, enjoy it as much as possible, and just put that at the center of it. I think that's the core of this lesson, is just love at the center of the practice and curiosity at the center of the practice, and then let everything else just fall to the wayside. Improving, yes, feels good, but it isn't the most important thing. And if you want my help on your journey, check out the Absolute Everything bundle link below. But yet again, you don't need my help. You don't need any teacher's help, right? Like, you can do everything on your own. So try to enjoy the practice. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.